We've been using the same cheap Amazon lights for the last 5 years. We use the newer LED 45 Max, and we thought it's time to upgrade our studio. You're watching me now on our old lights, but let's switch to the new ones. This is the GVM SD200b Pro. What do you think? Everything else is the same in terms of the camera setup and the editing. It's only the lighting which has changed. So let's talk about it. So we've been sent the GVM Pro SD200b to check out. They saw on Twitter that we were on the market for some new lights and wanted to know if we wanted to check theirs out, which of course we did. I've already heard great things about GVM at the NAB show when we went to Las Vegas, but they're definitely more of an underdog in the lighting game. So I was actually even more interested in taking a look at these to see A, what difference a light like this could make, and also if GVM lights are worth purchasing. Let's go over the specs first of all. The SD200b lights feature a powerful 200 watt bi-color spotlight compared to the measly 45 watt of our older, newer lights. The bi-color spotlight means you can cycle through every color temperature compared to some lights which are just stuck to one color temperature. And this means that your shots could either look too warm or too cold and make it tricky to grade skin tones. They could sometimes look a bit too orange. Also, bi-color is super handy if you're wanting to film a scene or a product and you want to make it film like it's a sunny morning or a cold winter's day. The light also offers 13 presets for various lighting types such as tungsten lighting, studio lamps, sunset, sunrise, and overcast skies. And this really helps take a lot of the guesswork out when it comes to matching light sources, something that we found a bit of trouble before. The GVM light also has full app control, so you can adjust the brightness from your desk without having to get up and move around. You'll also be able to adjust the color temperature too, or turn the light completely on or off. Now, in addition to that, it also features 12 lighting effects. Everything from candlelight, paparazzi, and fireworks. Now, this isn't something we would probably use on a daily basis, but it is handy for the odd shoot. It's one less thing you have to do when you come to the edit. Now, let's take a look at the light themselves. It's a really nice and simple design. It's got a screen on it, control knobs, and nice fans. Something that's super important for us is the silent fan option on these lights. If you're doing video like we are, this is a must-have. The last thing you want is a loud fan going off in the background. It's just a nightmare to edit out. As I mentioned, you can control the light with the app, so let me show you that. So as I mentioned, you can control the light completely from the app itself, which is really handy. So once you've connected it the first time, just tap the light and then you get into the settings. You can see we've got CCT, source matching, and effects. So if I go into CCT first, I can just pull this lever here and just change the intensity, make it super bright. As you can see, it's now at 91%. I can take that back down to about 22%. At the top here, we can change the color temperature. So you can see I've got it set at 5,600 kelvins. I can then rotate this around and make it as yellow as possible. So it's now 2,700 kelvins, or all the way around to the top at 6,800 kelvins. So let me just put it back to 5,700. You can flick the light on and off from the app itself. So handy, again, if you're a solo shooter, or even if you are just behind the camera and maybe you're standing away from the light, you can open this up and really control it in and dial those settings in. It's actually probably a little bit easier to use the app than it is to do it on the back, just very slightly. You've got your dimming curves here, so you can have a line, EXP, you've got log, S curve there. I'm gonna put it back to the line. If we go back, we've got the effects. So it says no effect, I can tap that. Then we can go to lighting. Let's put start. That gives you like a lightning effect there. It's gone off. There we go. We can have, let's try a different effect. Let's try TV. So imagine there's a monitor up there, a TV program going on, and we want to have this on the actor's face. You've got that. With sound effects, it could be really quite cool. We've even got, let's have a look at fireworks. We've got candlelight, let's try that. So this obviously creates a nice warm yellowy tone, and this is like a candlelight. So again, sound effects, fireplace sound effects, things like that are really going to help this stand out. And let's go back to paparazzi. This one's probably going to give me a fit, but if you want to pretend to be Justin Bieber for the day, you can have this effect on, and this is going to give you that paparazzi effect. Again, adding sound effects in from places like Artlist are really going to help you get those effects looking great if you're doing any kind of scene with an actor. And then we've got the source matching. So you can see we've got sunset and sunrise up there, but you can control any of them up here. So tungsten, I can just tap that and it's gonna change the color tone to tungsten. We've got studio lamps. We've got a cool white, daylight, overcast sky, sunset and sunrise. So you can see it's just a super handy way. If you're really quite unsure about what you should be using or color temperatures, you can select one of these presets and that's going to get it pretty close. Of course, I always recommend white balancing your camera, balancing your lights so they match perfectly, but this is just a super easy way, and you can make your own presets and save them in there as well. So that's the app. Now, when we were shopping around, initially, I was looking at the trusty Aperture lights, the lights that we all know and love. They're a great option, the company has a great reputation, but at £500 for a similar spec, they are quite an investment. So this GVM light is £230 here in the UK, so it's over half the price. So the question is it any good? And what difference will it make to how our video looks now we're actually using it? Because of course, that's the main thing. So let's do some side-by-sides against our old newer lights, and then we're going to play around with a few placements of the new one to see what style we like the best, because honestly, we're still working it out. So we're back on our previous studio lights, the newer Max 45 watt. These are just honestly a very basic light that you can grab from Amazon or eBay and cost us around £65. Now, again, believe it or not, these are the lights that we've used on every single video on our channel up until now. And to be honest, these lights did the job. And if you've watched any videos on our channel ever and you thought the lighting was good, well, this is what caused it. These are the lights. So if you are starting out, don't be put off by these lights if you're on an absolute budget. They really work well as a starter light kit, but at some point, like us, you'll probably want to upgrade. You see, the main problem with these lights is that the light is just very spread out, as you can see. So it's lighting up the whole area here of the studio, which means you just get a lot less contrast and a lot less overall control. And I think that's the thing, we just kind of got complacent with these lights. They were doing the job, they looked okay, but it's when you put a really good light next to these ones and look at the footage side by side, when the lighting is the only thing you've changed, that's when you notice this big difference. So normally for the editor's key setup on these old lights, we used to have one newer light here set up a little bit higher up at maybe a 45-degree angle, just a bit brighter as the key light. We had the one here on my right, your camera left, as the fill light, and then we have these ambient lights, and this is how it looks. But now let's try the GVM SD200b light and see the difference. We've added all the diffusers and attached the softbox with the grid. And what this is going to do is this is going to direct the light directly at the subject, which of course is me in this video. And what it's doing, it's reducing that spill. So instead of the light going kind of everywhere, it's being focused down to one particular area. So it's not quite as harsh as a spotlight, but it gives you kind of that more effect. What it's going to do is it's certainly going to add more dynamic looks and a bit more contrast. This time we'll only use this light as the key light, skipping the fill light for more contrast and shadow on one side of my face, reducing that spillage. So this shot is with the GVM light on and the newer light for a slight fill. Now let's have that fill turned off. This is what it looks like if we just use the GVM light roughly at a 45-degree angle, kind of at this angle. From me here, it's about 3 or 4 foot away. It's incredible to see how powerful this light is. In fact, we only have it set to around 35%-ish. So here's a few different positions and lighting techniques we've played around with in our small studio. So overall, I think the winner is absolutely evident here. Using the GVM light allows us to achieve a more cinematic feel. You know, it really is everything that we were hoping to achieve. We've got a lot to learn about lighting, to be honest. So it's something we're hoping to improve and improve further over time. And in terms of value, it's not even really that expensive when you look around, especially for a light of this output. So I think it's well worth a look if you're wanting to upgrade your YouTube setup or you've got the budget there to start with. You know, a light is something that you tend to buy once and then you're going to keep it forever. So it's certainly a worthy investment, just like a camera or a microphone. Now, if you want to check it out, I'll put a link in the description below. Thanks for watching and make sure to leave any comments or questions below. See you in the next video.